So I decided to make a video that I'd make a video about the McGregor and Khabib fight, and I've watched those two characters a bit and how they relate to each other, and how then each one of them has grown up and taken on the traits of their past and like their childhood wounding, and watching how one of their conferences, that smack talk that goes on, and the attempt to humiliate each other. Um, More so on the McGregor side, like that technique that he uses to try and like shame, and there was a great video that someone did about the framing of how you control the frame of that psychological frame, and you kind of lord that over someone, or you create a situation where the other person feels uncomfortable, and then as soon as the other person feels uncomfortable, like you've technically won. And I tie that back to the book review I just did about the mask of masculinity, and those masks around like the know-it-all and the athletic mask and the alpha mask, around just trying to just prop yourself up artificially. And like, I know it's part of the sport. I know it's part of that smack talk type of like, yeah, yeah, this is how you fight. And but when this particular altercation between Khabib and McGregor, like when McGregor starts bad mouthing his mother and his religion, I'm like seriously, like you're gonna go down that path, and like there's people watching it like frothing at the insults, at like, yeah, 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 this is really good, and this is all the juicy stuff, and getting all that like almost like this surrogate rage out against somebody else, like this. And it reminds me of like schoolyard bullying, where you're just getting out this nonsense, this shadow energy that you don't know how to get rid of yourself, so you're using like the alpha as the vessel to push that forward. um, Now, Khabib, his past, like this guy was born to fight. Like, is tough as nails. Like growing up in Russia, and his upbringing and learning how to fight. Like, and I think the big difference here is that he's got religion and spirituality. And there's a great book by Philip Zimbardo about the time paradox, and that relates to how people that have a strong religious following can see time differently. Well, the experience of time is quite different, because the transcendental future is much more important than present time. So whatever they do in present time, they feel almost invulnerable, invincible, or they're doing it for the purpose of the greater good, or whatever they're going to do later in life. Or when they die, it's going to be much greater, because what they've done in present time, they're building up all these pennies, or um, tokens, or whatever it is in heaven. So that's where a lot of strength can come from that. Um, I feel like Khabib's relative to McGregor. McGregor just doesn't have the inner life, and the inner life is really important. I feel like when you don't have that, once the outer life falls away, like for McGregor, like when I watched him talk at this conference, like he looked lost. He sounded lost. Like and part of me was like, man, I'm concerned for that dude. Like when the fame starts to recede, and when all these fans go, and like, and and just like, who's he going to turn to? Like all the people that supported him, like there's not going to be anyone. And I think he'll revert back to his Irish upbringing of like the drinking culture, where it's like you don't feel the abandonment, you don't feel the shame, you don't feel the Catholic guilt. It's just you just drink it all away, and I'm concerned about that. And I feel like the people that respect him and know him need to be there for him and let him know that it's going to be okay to feel the the downfall of what's coming next. Uh, I feel that's really important. I think that Irish side of his culture will do him a disservice and not allowing him to feel. And Khabib's got God there, so it's almost like a you pray to this being to like Jesus did something similar, the cup run over us kind of thing, the cup run over, and you're going to give that, whatever that energy is, to God. It almost seems like it's this supernatural sustenance that you can do anything because you have God on your side. Um, but I feel like I needed to raise that. I think that was quite important that these fights are a distillation of what is wrong with masculinity. I think being athletically competitive is important, but the underlying foundation of that smack talk and the aggression spikes and the trying to shame is pure childhood wounding, and it's not something that gets addressed. I think we spend so much time psychologically pop psyching like politicians, but these men that have millions of people, millions of other men following them, and like riving them and cheering them on and pushing them to the extremes of their body. I really feel like we do a disservice mental health wise by not exploring where a lot of this stuff is coming from, where this competitiveness is coming from, where this urgent need to shame the other guy and be the alpha male and try and discredit somebody else's life. I feel it's sad. I find that it's sad, and I feel for both of them. But right now, I feel more for McGregor because hurt people. And when I saw him at this conference, it was all ad hominem attacks. Like it was all like just nasty, sad type insults. And Khabib was more about like his attacking McGregor's fighting technique, um, which I think it was honourable. Like that's what they're there to do. Like, um, yeah, I just found it sad. I think it's really important to raise it, um, to heal masculinity in, in the current form that it's at. I think those two guys are at the edge of where masculinity is, and the distillation and concentration of where masculinity is. And I feel like it was something that needed to be addressed. So I did. Thank you. Peace.